Hi guys, I'm sorry, I'm having a mare of a day. This is a tutorial for week number 5, joining the sections together. Now, you are not going to start with a section this big, or these two sections this big. It's because I fluffed up and recorded my video on time-lapse and not on normal speed, like this one hopefully is, she says, wanting to stop and double check. Anyway, so the principle is the same when joining small sections or bigger sections. Bigger sections you're going to start with the smaller sections and you're going to build up until you get to seams like this, where I'm going to be matching points, and we're going to be matching here 1, 2, 3. I thought I had more than that. And then each end as well. So kind of like 5, but not quite 5. So we're going to start by taking the smaller piece and popping it over the top. As I said, this is exactly the same principles for when you're doing smaller sections. I just don't have videos of that. So we're going to start by picking one of the middle points to intersect. Getting some pins. I swear by locator pins. And we're not going to do this one first, we're going to do this one first because there isn't a junction already of sections, so this will be easier to line up. So I'm going to push it through at the back where it should be the intersection, and you can see here, hopefully, I'm pushing it through and it's going to catch, or not catch, just be inside the fold. So now we're going to line it up with this bit here. Now you can see I've got a bit of bulk here that hasn't been pushed across. So I just need to check this side as to where I'm aiming for. Oh, and that's come out. That is a bit high. So we're going in there. If you can see, gone right for the middle of that junction there. So now the issue we've got is that this paper is all really quite bulky now, so I'm going to put a clip on here just to keep the two pieces of paper together and fabric, but I'm actually going to pin through as well. But first I need to line some more of this up, so I think it's going to be lined up approximately. This is a very approximate. So I'm pushing it through on the line on this side and checking to see where it is on that side. So that is a tad low, a couple of mil low. Can you see that? There we go. So I'm taking it out, I'm just looking, moving a couple of mil further up. No, we need more than that. And there we go. It's on the line. So between these two pins, I'm now going to put a pin, but I'm going to put it in at an angle, and I'm going to make sure the fabric doesn't move as it goes in. If you put it in straight and then twist, it can push the underside fabric around. So I'm not doing that. I'm going in at an angle, and then going like that. I'm going to keep these locator pins in. So I've got this section done. This is the next intersection that I want to line up. So I'm going to leave this gap for now. Take another pin. Can you see this? Sorry, I don't know. So I'm leaving this section here for now. I'm going to take another pin, pop it into here. Check. Yep, it's just caught the edge. I'm actually going to move it down a touch because I want it to go in between these fabrics. Now up here I'm not going to have the full seam allowance there, but that's okay because it's only going to be in a small section. I think it's about there, and because I've dropped this one down a bit lower, I'm going to drop that one down a bit lower, so when I sew on the line it should match up. So I'm now holding this straight, as you can see here, flat against each other. These should line up, but we're going to double check it in just a few places obviously on a smaller section, right, that's close enough for me. So on a smaller section, you won't have to sew these such long lengths. Sorry, that's my thread, because I'm using a big spool. And then I'm going to go here, pretty much on the line, and that's because I've been holding both sides taut. So now we just have this section, well, not only this one, but just this one for now, up here, which I think again should be lined up. You can see there it's not quite over the length, so I'm going to put this through again, and then I'm going to adjust to where it is. So you saw I was kind of looking at both sides, push that through. Now between those two, I'm going to put another pin. I will then take this one out because I don't need it, and I'll just whop it in there. Take this and this out. Now I'm going to work on the more difficult section, purely because you'll have already taken some fabric out of here. Not fabric, paper out of here. So we're going to aiming to go through this point, obviously in between up here, so I'm approximately lining it up. Don't know if you can see that. Checking the other side, and that's where I want it to be. Again, I can look at it on this side and I can go, oh yeah, that's where I want to go. Ignore this bit of white because it's not going to be seen, because it's within the seam allowance. Ooh. Sorry. So this should now line up. If I hold these again, these should be lining up. I push the pin all the way through because it helps to hold the two pieces together and not kind of twist. And I only have these locator pins while I'm pinning it in place. Then I take them out. So this I'm just going to run down again. That's not quite in the right place. Let's just go a bit further down and see what's happening. Down here. Sorry, I shouldn't talk with pins in my mouth, but I do. That one's good. So to keep this junction steady, we'll go an angle and push through there again. This is slipping and sliding all over the place again. What I should have done, which I'm now going to do, is not hit the phone again. Let's take a clip just to hold the fabric together and the two bits of paper. I'm making sure that's all lying neatly together. I'm going to take that out because it wasn't quite in line. Whew, that's good. So I'm going to put a pin in next to it. Hopefully this will all line up. Yep. Just going to get another. So the longer the sections of seams that you're doing, I recommend not just using the clips. You can just use the clips, but I'm doing the pins because it gets quite bulky and weighty. So we've done along there. Now we just need to do this last one. So this looks like it's twisted, it's just the clip holding it a bit funny. So I'll take that off while I readjust. And I will probably pick a point halfway along here to match it up. And that's just to hold it. Sorry. Here. That's gone through in the right place. So the smaller sections, obviously you will not be lining up as much, but you do need to be slightly more accurate. I would definitely start with the teeth, joining those. You need to be more accurate because the more pieces there are that go into a section, the more opportunities there are for like either too little or too much of a seam allowance to be sewn. Fabric does have a bit of give, not when it's got the paper on it, but it does later. So when once you've taken the paper off, so you might end up needing to manipulate some of the quadrants when we sew those together. So here, yeah, I'm just inside there, slightly off on that one. There we go, perfect. I'm going to pop a pin in here and then I'm going to sew it and show you. So it's a lot of pinning, but it is really worth it. And as I said, the clips are useful for holding fabric and things out of the way, but I wouldn't necessarily use only those because they will tend to shift. So I've taken some of these locator pins out, but I keep the ends ones in until I've got everything in here, and then I take it out. I'm sewing on a short stitch again, sewing on the line. So make sure you've got a lot of working space for this when you have the larger sections, and don't rush it like I am, as it won't help. So this is just the last run. But you're using the locator pins, you're starting off with the smaller sections. You're sewing on the line with a 1.5 stitch length. And I do a lock stitch at the beginning and at the end. Take those away. So, this is very big now, almost the quadrant for the bottom left of my quilt, and I can't show you it because it's too big, but that intersection I would count as matching. That one isn't really relevant. Again, this one here I would class as matching. You might, you can see here how I didn't iron the fabric all the way over, and it has a bit of like extra fold in it. That can be why some junctions don't line up occasionally. And then we've got this one lining up here. Everything should be okay. There might be a tiny couple of mil off or not. The other thing to bear in mind is that this still has the paper behind it and the fabric. You know, once you've taken that out and you give things a good iron, and also once you've taken the paper out, you might find that, you know, a bit of manipulation and these things work out a bit better and sit a bit better. But that is probably the most difficult seam of joining sections on the, this bit's very bulky just because of all the fabric underneath, and as I said about that, it's not perfect. But ultimately, when you're looking at the whole thing, you won't see it. Here, again, you could class the junction between these two as slightly off. I don't know why that has occurred. It looks like it all should line up. But I probably pulled a bit too tight there. I'm not going to unpick that. I know some people might do. I think in the whole scheme of the thing, you can see, or you can't really see it. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. I'm sorry it is not on a smaller section. It would have been quicker and better explained. I will probably still upload those videos. Anyway, I've got a couple more long sections to do, and then I've got my quadrants sewn together because I am trying to be a bit quicker and ahead of everyone. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.